What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my Harry Potter marathon. Today, we're going to be talking about what arguably could be the worst Harry Potter in the franchise, and that's the Half-Blood Prince. For starters, this is arguably and probably the most unflattering and underwhelming film in the franchise from a character's perspective, plot lines, and its dialogue. However, though, it's worth noting that it still has some pretty decent dramatic moments and important details that will be crucial in the next two films. The first act of the film serves as a decent setup to what seemed to be the start of another great David Yates addition to the series. However, a big piece of the middle chunk of the film falls flat and almost feels like a teenage chick flick in a way. But it manages to get revived in the last turn of the second act and throughout the last act, which is quite great. They start delving deeper into Malfoy's character and providing more details about the Dark Lord and the Death Eaters in the first act. However, the second act almost completely abandons this aspect and focuses solely on the relationship between all of these characters, which turns out to be quite a drag. I wish they had minimized the relationship part and emphasized the Malfoy Dark Lord storyline more, which would have made this film more impactful. In reality, there was just a lot of sitting and talking or standing and talking, which could have been fine if executed properly, which it kind of wasn't in some respects. However, it felt like a lot of unnecessary filler and exposition mixed in with a bunch of unnecessary and open-ended plots. As I mentioned, the story has its highs and has its lows. The Half-Blood Prince felt more like a character-driven film, which could have been great considering how well the Order of the Phoenix went. However, most of these character arcs didn't really pay off for me personally. I noticed that David Yates struggled more this time around to try to balance all of these characters, which was surprising given his success in the last film. At times, it felt less like a Harry Potter-centric film, which allowed them to explore Draco, Lord Voldemort, the Death Eaters, and most importantly, Severus Snape. Snape plays a significant role in this film and to carry on to the next two films as well, delivering some of the movie's best moments and dialogue, so it wasn't a complete waste of time. They subtly hinted at his backstory and gave him an intriguing character arc. They also incorporated many heartwarming moments between Harry and Dumbledore, which contributed to the film's success. Their connection was the most prominent it has been, making it delightful to witness as we could see how much they respected each other in previous films. However, where this film falters is in its love interest. They spent a significant portion of the film trying to establish these connections, but it didn't feel earned or developed enough for us to care about them, if I'm honest. It was as if Cupid himself was flying around Hogwarts, shooting arrows, trying to create these romantic entanglements between Harry and Ginny, Ron and Hermione, Ron and Lavender, or as Hermione calls her, the Daft Dimbo, and also Dean and Ginny. I mean, I suppose you could argue that Harry and Ginny's love interest was hinted at in previous films, but it wasn't particularly evident, so when they finally explored it in this movie, it feels like it emerged unexpectedly. Their relationship was portrayed in an unusual and awkward manner. In my opinion, these relationships overshadow the important plot points the film could have revealed and developed, making it feel like a teenage drama film at times. I appreciate the attempt to set more of a mature tone, but to me, it came across as immature, inconsistent, and unnecessary in some parts. As for the script, unfortunately, nothing really popped off the page. The best moments were with Harry and Dumbledore, where the story felt grounded and realistic. However, outside of those scenes, nothing particularly memorable emerged. Yates attempted to incorporate more comedy into this film, where sometimes it was successful, but a significant portion felt like it was forced and out of place. This film was intended to be dark and suspenseful, and it could have been a powerful experience. However, Yates' decision to include comedic elements in key moments disrupted the tension and undermined the overall impact. On a positive note, one aspect of the film that has been continuously improving is the cinematography and the color palette. The color grading in this movie is exceptional, with a rich blend of different shades of greens, yellows, and particularly black and grays. There were certain scenes that were captured in almost entirely green tones, kind of flashing back to the Chamber of Secrets when they were doing flashbacks to Tom Riddle's story, while the short duel between Harry and Draco was shot in a black and white style. I thought it looked pretty cool and it had a lot of personality to it. David Yates continues to demonstrate his mastery of direction and camera work, skillfully crafting suspenseful shots and seamlessly editing them together. He also excels in capturing breathtaking scenic shots, seamlessly integrating a new horror style with effective sound mixing. As far as the CGI goes, while it's not necessarily bad, I feel like it didn't really significantly advance either. It almost reached a plateau, but in fairness, it still looks impressive for its time. Overall, I don't hate this film, although it may seem like it. I think it has some very important moments in it. It moves at a decent pace and has a great ending, leaving you curious and eager to watch the Deathly Hallows films. The Half-Blood Prince gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you think about the Half-Blood Prince in the comments below, and stay tuned for Deathly Hallows Part 1. See you guys in the next one.